Okay, so this is GameMaker, and I've opened up Cosmic Ray 2.0, which is, the second version, still in the testing phase. And let's just take a look at some of the programming that went into this. I know that sometimes the programming on these platformers is a little tricky in GameMaker, and I mean, if you look at this is what happens when I press the left key. I mean, this is just me moving left. Yeah. All that stuff happens. So if this game does run a little bit slow or slower than some of the other games I've made, that's why. And basically the reason this is so big is because all this stuff controls you climbing and descending hills. If you don't have hills in your platformer, then it's just everything's nice X and Y, vertical, horizontal. All the surfaces you're standing on are nice and horizontal or vertical. But once you start putting in hills and the ability to climb hills and sloped surfaces, you get all this nonsense basically. And the step event, I guess if you wanted, you could pause this video and sort of duplicate my main character program a little bit, but it's kind of useless without seeing some of the other interweaved programs on some of the other objects that this program or this object sort of relies on. And impact or collision events, outside room. Yeah, I mean, X key is the dash attack, Z key is the jump. I mean, look at the jump. The jump is ginormous. You'd just think, oh, jump, okay, go up. But it's a little bit more complicated once you put in the wall jump. See, all this stuff here is like wall jump. This here is like a timeline that opens up. That gives you momentum when you jump off the wall. It's kind of complicated once you add a wall jump. So there, I just showed everything. That's the entire main object. The main character actually consists of 3 objects. This is Rush. This is what you turn into, this object when you do the dash attack. And this is Ray. You turn into this object when you are powered up and you can fly around, basically. And yeah, that's pretty much all the programming. The number of rooms is fairly small. It's fairly large depending on how you look at it. I mean, it's 20 levels. Each is going to have 3 rooms, so that's 60 rooms just for all the levels. And then you got the intro, which is, the title page, the menu pages, the, cutscene rooms, and tutorial levels. That's this here. So, and these are sort of junk rooms that I'm not really using, but I don't want to get rid of because they have some interesting ideas in them. They're kind of like scrap work rooms, which is a funny way of doing it. So basically where you don't want to mess up and put a bunch of stuff in a real level, but you have an idea, so you put it in a sort of a scrap book of rooms at the end here, where you have different thoughts going on, like, what if I did this, what if I did that, So these are all testing rooms where you have, this is a very early one. This is like the first room I ever made. Actually, I'm lying, it's not, but it's one of the early ones. And the biggest sprite I have here is for the moon. This guy has to rotate, and I don't have the professional version. So essentially, there are like 96 images in this sprite, which is by far the most I've ever had. It's kind of stupid, but it's the only way to get the rotation to look nice and smooth without having the professional version. So, and here are some unused sprites. Haven't used this guy yet. He sort of barks at you. Bark, bark, bark. And what else? Pink Shot Man. I have a funny naming scheme. Yeah, so it's basically, yeah, oh, here's some backgrounds. Here's the tiles, my tile set. I drew all these myself. I'm a pretty good artist, and just in terms of pixel art, I'm not half bad either. So I came up with all these myself, not to toot my own horn or anything. But you've got all these different tiles. This is all the ones I've made so far, basically. Some of them are semi-transparent, which is nice. You can do that much easier in this latest version of GameMaker. And I've got this thing. This is a planet background. I've got normal old backgrounds, I've got, yeah, usually there's several backgrounds running in the same thing. Oh, and one other thing. I originally had moving platforms in an earlier version of GameMaker, and they don't work anymore. So I had to come up with new programming for like moving elevator type platforms. Where is it? No. Is this it? No. I have no idea where it went. I haven't used it in a while. It's not under floor? Seriously? I hate this. I hate misplacing an object in my menu system. Those are all the menu objects. They control where you go and what you do. Oh, here it is, up down block. I call it a gimmick object. It's not a floor object, I guess. But anyway, I had to completely change to the program. Instead of just changing the vertical speed of the object that stands on top of it, you actually have to do all this. When the character stands on top, you need to make the character jump up and down. It doesn't have any actual vertical speed, it just jumps up and down by a few pixels per second, or pixels per frame, or whatever. That is more complicated than it should be. If somebody knows a better way, I'd like to know. But it's really reliable, and there's no glitchiness. You don't glitch through the level or anything like that when you step on it. It's kind of nice. Those moving platforms really seem to work. They don't really work when they're like sandwiched together though, because then they both try and act upon the character standing on it. I guess a better way would just actually have an event inside the character instead of the object. But, I don't like putting large pieces of programming into a character when it's just going to only need that programming for certain things. Momentum. Timelines. If you don't make use of timelines, you're doing yourself a huge disservice in this program. This program, timelines, is awesome. I take full advantage of timelines. I have so many timelines. Well, not too many, but this game isn't done yet. I mean, I'll have dozens. Each boss pattern will be a timeline, basically. You can just program something to do one thing, then another, then another, then another. It's great for pattern-based enemies and pre-selected movements. This one has 18 steps in it, and each time it changes its scaling of the sprite to sort of make this flip around animation without actually having to animate anything, which is nice. So timelines are really nice. I love timelines. Paths are really nice too. I don't have too many pathed enemies, but a few, not too many right now. And I don't have any sounds yet. There's some default sounds, but they kind of suck. Yeah, okay. It's not working very good. I think I just froze the program by pressing that. Yeah, that's kind of bad. Let's just get out of there. I don't have any sounds in my games yet. That's going to be the last thing I add in. Well, I better check my time and make sure that I'm not going over time. Yeah, it's been 11 minutes, so I'd best go ahead and end this recording. So, hope this was interesting.